Well, we are now being joined by Joe Uwakwue, a former chairman of Society of Petroleum Engineers, as we try to unpack issues around fuel subsidy in Nigeria. Is the Bola Tinubu government still subsidizing the pump price of petrol despite its inauguration day pronouncement that it has been stopped? Good morning, Mr. Uwakwue, and good to have you on the morning show with us.
Good morning. Pleased to be here.
All right. Fuel subsidy, where are we? Federal government has denied, I believe since about October, but there have been reports upon reports. Big names have waded in. Lately, it's been former governor of Kaduna State, N925, who didn't just say that fuel subsidy, was back, but there is as much as 8 trillion naira is what will be paid, given, the calculations that marketers, even Pengasson, did say late last year that yes, the Tinubu administration is paying subsidy surreptitiously. What are your, or what is your understanding of the issues? Are we paying? And if that is correct, wouldn't that be illegal because there's no appropriation, for it?
Okay, well, the numbers don't lie. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the current price, the pump price today is probably 600 average.
Average.
To land it in Nigeria today at $950 a ton will require that you pay 900 naira at the pump.
Really?
A little bit above, actually. So if you think of the premium that you pay, maybe $10, I'm assuming the lowest premium, which is $10.
Yeah.
If it's 15, you will pay a little bit. The pump price will be, I would say, $9.25, something like that. So, yes, we are paying subsidies.
What, I mean, OJ, I know that this one is heavy, but let me do a quick follow-up. When you say that we are, you are saying, I'm not sure if we're paying subsidy is the right word. Maybe you're saying that the amounts at which we're buying fuel won't correspond with the landing cost. Does that necessarily mean that the government is paying subsidy? Even when government says that because we've removed subsidy since last year, May 2029, Wale Edun will tell you that this is amount of money that we're sharing. It keeps increasing. This is what MDs are remitting. This is what is coming in. Where will government therefore find the money to pay as much as 300 naira or plus?
It's above 300.
It's above.
So it's probably 310 on the liter. So where is it coming from? Certainly not from the end user. The end user pays 600 or 590 or whatever it is, and he goes away. So it's between the government and the sole importer, NNPC. Between these two, they are paying the difference. I don't know if that addresses that. But think about it. If the landing cost is above 800, if that's what it takes to land here, and then you add all the distribution expenses and all that, it's reasonable to expect that if you were to sell it without a loss, it will be at least 900.
Break down this landing cost thing for us. What does it mean? Okay,
so you have, I'm assuming it's imported, right?
Where's the refinery?
So I'm assuming it's imported. So if it's imported, there's the plat quote for it. Mm-hmm. Currently, it's about $950 per ton, $950. And of course, you add the margin and all that, cost, insurance, and freight, right?
Yes.
That's your landing cost. It comes in, you have to transfer it to a tank farm. Mm. There's a cost associated with that. So by the time it's leaving the depot, that's what we call the landing right there, right?
Yeah.
And then you add all the other expenses, trucking, the filling station owner has to have a margin and all that, financing cost. So you have to build all that into it. So at today's price, we should be paying at least 908, 910 at today's
per liter of petrol.
Per liter of petrol. Think about it. Ghana is doing equivalent of about 1,200 currently.
1,200.
Yes,
Per litre.
naira,
On price.
pump price.
Okay.
So this probably the cheapest still. And if you look at the
100%
numbers,
importation in Ghana too?
about, but they still have some local refining. But think about it this way. So when in May last year, when the subsidy was removed.
Subsidy is gone.
Yes. If you look at the subsequent months, 2-3 months after that,
Yes.
our daily consumption came down to the 30s from the 50s.
Yeah.
50 million it used to be, right?
Yes.
Came down to the 30s.
Yes.
Now it's back to 53, 54.
Is it?
Yes. You can check the NMDPR website, right? So we are back to the 50s again. So what it tells me is that the differential has become attractive again for cross-border movement of products.
So do you agree with this figure that former governor of Kaduna State has touted as 8 trillion naira that the government has paid so far? And, you know, how did that calculation come about? I mean, can you imagine where it is? Because, I mean, obviously, the government has not come out to say that that subsidy is back. And, you know,
Government has denied it.
They have denied it, but they haven't come out
Kyari did say that there's no subsidy.
There's no subsidy. I mean, and that raises the question everyone has been asking. Where are the gains of the subsidy removal if, you know, they're saying that the subsidy is not back? No, my main question is, do you agree with that figure of former Governor El-Rufai?
I don't know. Again, I have to run the numbers to see what this will amount to. But on the liter, I think we're doing about 300 naira on every liter. So if you think about 50 million a day times 300, right? That's close to about 15 billion, right?
Yes.
Every day in subsidies. That's what it will be. So you can wrap it up for 365 days and you get your annual bill.
I think it's the whole year that El-Rufai
Yeah, so you get your annual bill. So if you do about...
From May,
which will be
from
more,
June.
which will be more than what we purportedly, you know, run away from.
Yeah.
You know, because of the because of the
Well,
not
so
to get to 6 trillion.
No, but remember,
subsidy.
a lot has changed, right? So in this computation, this 300 assumes 1,200 as the exchange rate. Okay? So at the time this was done, exchange rate was what? 500-600.
5 something.
So
700.
yeah, so you have to. So there are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
So the exchange rate regime has changed. It has to be accounted for. The price of crude is been going north. Is 87 thereabout. So you have to that brings a difference.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed.
Okay, subsidy is gone. Long live for subsidy.
Long live subsidy.
You know, as the former president of the Nigerian Society of Petroleum Engineers, what factors do you believe are contributing to this confusing and conflicting narrative about, you know, fuel subsidy, the narrative around it? What do you think under this current administration? Why can't we still get a clear picture of what is going on?
Well, I think it depends on where you sit. I think a lot of people have clear pictures of what's going on. So think about it this way. Like I said, there are a lot of moving parts to things. It's a very dynamic situation. So what is subsidy today may not be subsidy tomorrow morning, right? I've always held the view that what we needed, and if you look at, I think it was, it was channels. A couple of years ago, I spoke extensively on this, and I said, what we need is a structural reform of the downstream, right?
Okay.
Subsidy is only an element of that. So we focused on just, so we were, and I was afraid all the while that we were going to take policy decisions influenced by how it impacts our pocket, not how it impacts the market. So the removal, subsidy is gone was a statement done to say, and I can't handle this anymore.
Because I can afford it.
So basically, yes, we are forced to the wall. Okay. We should have been a bit more proactive. We should have taken steps to reform the sector, and that will include subsidy removal, right?
Didn't PIA do that?
Well, the PIA, as a document, simply Section 205 says, well, prices of products will be priced competitively. That's all it says, right? How you get there is a journey. So, and I'll highlight a few issues. One is supply.
Yeah.
You cannot have a single supplier market left to market forces, where prices are left. So I've always said this, that if you're going to deal with the subsidy issue, you need to diversify supply. So you have to have competition, right? So if you have a single importer supplying the market, and you say you're leaving prices, so the inefficiencies of that single importer will be transferred to the consumer. Does that make sense? So that's what we want to avoid. So my view is that we needed a total reform, and I was always saying that we needed a plan that takes us from where we were to that point. Now, because we didn't have a plan, I sincerely believe that we were forced to take this policy step because we were basically unable to fund it. Well, what that has shown, and I think that's the government realized maybe too late, that this part was not going to take them to, so they basically stopped. So you started it, and then you realized the pain was going to be too much, and then you basically stopped and said, wait a minute.
Let me play devil's advocate, and answer the guess as to why the government will deny paying subsidy. Maybe they're not paying subsidy. What is the likelihood of what former President Muhammadu Buhari used to advocate, crude swap? Is it possible that we're exchanging crude for refined product with those who are supplying us, and therefore the amount, the differential that you think will have gone to the consumer is actually not a factor in what we are importing, because we are to a large extent swapping crude with the refiners?
Okay, so I believe we're still in that dsdp, even if we've been told that's been shut down. But the truth is, I really don't care where NNPC gets products from, right? Whether it's import directly bought or swap or whatever. So that product, once it enters our waters, has a cost, right? So what I worry about is what happens from that moment to the pump.
Yeah.
Okay, so the issues around how they procure is another matter. We can have that on another day. But my issue is we needed a plan that will basically move us from where we were, a highly regulated pricing regime, to a fully deregulated pricing regime. Now, obviously we didn't even have a minister. So the president said, subsidy is gone, right? I don't think any work really was done to develop a pathway, right? And then we realized the pain. Because I've always said, I think if you look at a few interviews, I said, subsidy removal or the reform will be painful, but there are steps you can do to minimize the pain. Right? Now, I support subsidy removal, or whatever you call it.
At once?
Well, again, that is the plan that defines whether it's a single step or multiple steps, or whether it's 6 years, 1 year, is a plan. What we lacked, what I didn't see, right, was a clear pathway that says we will do A, B, C, D, and we'll arrive at this point. So we simply just said, this is it, right? And then we woke up in the morning and everything went haywire. And I think they suddenly say, oh, wait a minute, guys.
All right.
So, and I hope somebody is working to put a plan in place.
I hope so too. We all hope so. I mean, some have argued that, the economy has gotten some breather with, the current appreciation of the naira to the dollar. I mean, even though inflation at this moment is at 32.20%. I mean, are you 33.20%? I mean, are you optimistic about economic recovery? I mean, only last week, the Aliko Dangote slashed diesel prices and all of that. What do you think? Are you optimistic about economic recovery, and do you think that the economy has gotten some breather at this moment?
Well, it's tough. A year ago, right? It's tough we can feel some relief, but think about it. A year ago, we were not in this place. Things were a lot different. So are we seeing positive signs? Yes. Things are turning around, and I hope they continue to go in the right direction for the country. But the issues about, so the other good news is Dangote refinery is coming on stream. Hopefully they'll start doing PMS shortly, and that will help.
If they do, will it be at 900 and something or 6? Because the proposition that we read in the papers would it will be around 500 and something per liter of petrol.
So, and okay, I hear people worry so much about this. So Dangote is going to refine a product that he bought at a cost, probably in dollars, right? He's going to refine it, so he has to put a refining margin, so he has to make money. So what that end price is, end user price is, it may actually be cheaper depending on his efficiency. And I've said this, if that refinery is inefficient, right, then imported products will be cheaper than, and we've seen it across rice. We've seen it. If your local production is inefficient, then you're going to pay more, okay, than imported product, because there are people who are doing it better and faster somewhere else. So, but there are other issues. There are quality issues. For instance, the diesel that he's selling at 1,000 thereabout. So that, I've seen comments that, was the sulfur content.
Yeah.
So there are serious issues around it, because I hear he had an exception from the regulator to be able to sell high sulfur diesel. And of course, you know that the price of diesel is dependent on the quality of sulfur in it, right? So if he's selling, if the import limit was 200, I think, ppm of sulfur, and he's doing a 600, right? So yeah, it should be cheaper, right?
What was the implication of that?
Well, it's the environmental impact, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically burning sulfur, and so there's a cost to it. So we need to think through it.
I mean, Mr. June, we would like to have you again, because this is a topic that that we need to expand on. But we must thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.